What?
I need a reason.
Don't say money. Why do this?
Why not do it? Because yesterday I walked out of the joint after losing 4 years of my life, and you're cold decking Teen Beat cover boys. Because the house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes, the house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house.
Folks, welcome to the first ever recording of Regular Fun's LFG, featuring me, myself, Victor Marca. I am a gambler. I have a blog site. I do a whole bunch of things that I shouldn't be doing. I should be working. I should be doing real things. But my life is boring, and so I do these things to keep myself entertained. And now I hopefully that I can bring this to you and the entertainment that we try to bring the content. So regularfun.com, go on out there and check it out. We are geared towards gamblers, but it's about entertainment. It's about having fun. It's about creating events. And it started this year, which was a really great idea, because what you want to do is during a pandemic where you can't go or see anybody, you should create a website which is almost dedicated solely to places where you can go and see people. So that's what I did. That's what I went ahead and said, let me do this. Let me start this. Let me go get it. So that's where I'm at. My name is Victor Marca. My handle is GFY Marca on Twitter. I think it's a Regular Fun Posts also on Twitter, where we post a lot of our articles, our jackpots, our blogs, things like that. The website is regularfun.com. The Insta is Regular Fun Media, and there's 3 or 4 other accounts. Please check it out in the YouTube below, the information, and just welcome. Today we're going to talk about all things gambling. We're going to get square here with the COVID. We're going to understand what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, and just going to hopefully have a good time. Hopefully the car is that. Oof, I do not look cool. I am cool, but I do not look cool today. So we've got a lot of things coming for us here. Obviously, this podcast, LFG. We've got another podcast in development. A lot of issues with that one right now. It's a scores and odds one. And the lines are easy enough. Our crew has their own system. They use the same bookie system that bookies have been using since the birth of time. You read the book, you look at the line, you say this one, that one, you look at the players, you figure out what the fuck is going to happen, and then you make some adjustments based on how you see it. Then you get in front of a camera or on an email or on a hot list or anything like that, and you let people know what you think is going to happen. And you take credit for any win that happens, and you completely deny or excuse away anything that you're wrong about. That's exactly how gambling works. That's how gambling advice works, and that's how we're going to do it. Problem is that we have many people that don't understand what it is to look at a camera or talk on a microphone. So incredibly successful, intelligent, engaging people cannot seem to get their shit together. We have the outfits, we've got chains, we've got hats, we've got naked chaps if we need them. We've been using those for decades now. But at this point, they just don't understand exactly how to actually turn on the camera, hit the record button, and do something like this right here. So almost going to have that any day now. Hopefully, right after this, I'll stick my thumb up their ass and we'll have it. So that's coming. And titled TBD, because we don't know yet, because they can't make up their fucking minds. But that's my crew. I love them. There's no way around it. I'm not going to be able to exist without them. Well, I could, but I'm single. So, it's either me and the machines or hanging out with them and having a cocktail. The funny thing about gambling for me is I was always a bit of a gambler. I always enjoyed my gambling when I was a kid. When I was 8 years old and 9 years old or 10 years old, we'd go to a restaurant. We'd go to Patty's. There was a video poker machine there. And while I'd wait for my double fried chicken, yeah, Daddy didn't have abs. I would play that machine. I'd get a $5 and I'd go play a quarter or two. If I made like $4, my father would come over and he'd just throw it away on one bet when we were leaving. Motherfucker. But that's what life is. Anyway, fast forward 30 years and here I am. And I found gambling again, mainly because I can only drink so much anymore. I feel like when I was younger, I could drink, pass out, throw up, and then come right back to the party and it would be fine. Nowadays, if I have a fifth of Macallan, say, and I invite everybody to come and try some, you're not going to be able to recover as easily. And the thing about getting old and dying is calories make you extremely fat. Or when you were younger, you could have a 5,000 calorie a day diet, and that's not a problem. Nowadays, it is a terrible problem. I am extremely caloric intake, and wowie wow, you know? So working through that stuff. But please check out our blog, check out all that stuff, regularfun.com, and just let me know if you, on the comments section or wherever you want to, throw a piece of rock in the air or come to a casino and yell at me and tell me what I could do to fix it for you. There are a lot of things going on in America right now. The casinos and everything. So when we created this podcast, and in talking about podcasts, it really is. I always wanted to. I've been sitting on this for a long time because I've been trying to come up with a good opening. Growing up, or actually first in work and college and radio, there was the Stern Show, but really I ended up falling in love with Ron and Fez, WNAW in New York, ONA, of course, and a number of shows after that came through, the serious ones, and of course the podcasts that are out today. But I find like the best shows or podcasts have an anthemic opening. Right. So ONA had Ecstasy of Gold, which while ONA was probably number 2 on my list, I'll always say Ron and Fez WNAW was the greatest show that ever existed. ONA had that opening that just was smash, with the build up, everything. You'd wait if you were getting ready for work or if you're just lying in bed because you're hungover and you're going to skip work. You would just wait there because there was always these pre-shows, people talking, replays or whatever. It didn't necessarily start at 6 or 7 or whenever they started back then, or whenever, or I guess they were 2 or 3. But it would build up, and then finally it would cut to Ecstasy of Gold. And when that started, you knew you were about to get, knock wood, some new content. And so I kind of wanted to do the same thing. Like that, or like Ron and Fez with the Juggalos. Everybody come see the greatest show. Gather up all Juggalos and roll. Oh, every time I heard that, I lost my shit. I had to find a good quote. The Clooney quote in the beginning here from Ocean's 11. One of the best. There'll be more coming. I just wanted to start with usually our internal groups advice to each other, which none of us fucking follow. But I highly recommend you all check that out. And you want to have a nice little build up, rise, and then a pop and explosion, and that's how it's supposed to be played out, man. And Stern had a good opening too. I mean, these crews, you can maybe say the great show came before the great production value of the opening, but that really was something that had always bothered me, and at least I got something I don't want to throw up on right now, so I'm going to stick with that. But and it's about those anthemic songs, really. When you pop it Ecstasy of Gold or the Juggalos or any of Ron Fez probably went through like 5 or 6 or 7 different songs throughout their WNW and Sirius time, but once you got used to it, it was all in. It was phenomenal. So yeah, that was the greatest. Lots of stuff going on in America, gambling right now. Pretty much, and if you go to regularfun.com, you'll see that I have a blog post about where you could actually have fun during COVID. And my number 1 places are all places that have extremely low population density. So it's fuck all to any of the actual infection itself. With the low rates, it's almost impossible to communicable, get back and forth on that. But also these places don't have mask requirements in certain areas. So like Deadwood doesn't make you wear a mask ever. It's phenomenal. You go there, you could have a conversation with the person that you say hi to. If you go to a bar, you could have a cocktail and you can enjoy whatever's going on there. At this point, I think they are allowing a larger groups. So you could have like a band playing, you could have 50 people in the area. That's phenomenal because throughout America, that is not the case. In PA here and in New Jersey and in Las Vegas, masks are a requirement on the floor no matter what. We can't even really go to LA or LV because coming back, there are in New York City, at least in New York State and in Massachusetts, there are restrictions, quarantine requirements, things like that. But in those states that aren't there, there are still quarantine requirements in the sense that if we hang out with people that have businesses, people that have children in sports, or any of those things, and God forbid one of us actually has contracted a virus that, by all standards and observations, is not lethal, and in asymptomatic people is completely ineffective at causing any kind of trauma or damage. It's scarlet letter at this point where you're not allowed to, that might end somebody's sports ability to go to the sport, might actually shut down the program. So that's crazy talk right now, but that's the world we live in. So we're not even trying to go to places like that right now. We're staying very close to the Mideast Atlantic area where we're kind of the group is allowed to go. So a lot of Atlantic City, a lot of Pennsylvania casinos again. And New York is finally getting ready to open up some of their casinos. It is not the same experience. I think we all know that. How do you put a mask on? How do you have a conversation with people that you've just met, or even with people that you know well? I'm not going to invite my friends, family, whoever out to a restaurant. Well, restaurant, you could take off your mask, but at the casino, you can't even approach the bar at this point. All cocktail service is in the seat that you're in, and you have to consume the drink in the seat that you're in. And the laws are the enforcement is a little bit lax at this point because everything I've just said about the disease itself is ostensible at this point. So to enforce those kind of laws is somewhat of an overstatement. And the casinos, while policies are established to do it, the original when we were going and you had to full mask, no drinks allowed, that was strictly enforced. That was crazy. You couldn't bring a coffee downstairs if it was yours and you were going to keep it in your own person. Couldn't pull your mask down for anything. They were up your asshole to do it. So things have changed enough that you could walk around with like a water bottle. You could walk around with a coffee, even though you're supposed to drink it. And it's somewhat the consideration is, Jesus fucking Christ, my laptop died mid-recording. This is a high-tech studio, everybody. Buckle up. It's going to be a good ride. But that's where that is. The drink is gone. So we're going to pause here to talk about a little bit of beverages while we're out here. I like Templeton Rye. I do it on the rocks, which some people would claim makes me a little bit effeminate or fairy or gay. I'm an ally, so let's continue and moving on that. But rye could be harsh, and Templeton's got a pretty good booze price point for its quality. And the interesting thing was when I was in Cali, it's almost $5 to $10 cheaper per fifth on this stuff. So really great. Macallan, I used to like Macallan. I'm really more into Abalor, into more of the PD Mossy kind of thing, smoky. So love my Johnny Walker Double Black. It's great. I like blue too. I just don't have it enough. It's not that I don't want to pay for it. Lord knows I waste enough money on gambling, but it's not my cup of tea there, prospectively. Crown Royal over here, family favorite. If you're Guido and you've been drinking your whole life, you'll know that VO, Crown Royal were sort of the upper echelon of the 70s and 80s drinking. We had a lot of cool things when we were younger that I wish were around today. A lot of clubs that you could go to. Of course, third generation Italian, Sicilian, depends on who you're talking to. But we had our own clubs about the region where we came from. So Serra de Falco Society, we would have, you could have a membership. I never had a membership. My pops had a membership. A lot of cool shit there. We could always get into that at some point. But they had like 400 bottles of ale. And it was, when you were a kid, you could go and steal one. Sort of okay. But I mean, that's where it is. So hoping the casino is going to open up soon enough. But honestly, without removing the face masks, not getting rid of that requirement, I'm not exactly sure how open it's going to be. I remember somebody in the beginning had told me when this started that we were done for the year. So it was February. It was March. I just got my place on Venice Beach for the month. And my hope was by May we could get back out there. Actually, by April, we had booked the 180-degree suite up at Planet Hollywood, which hasn't opened yet and will never open again. It's going to be sold probably to Seminoles, to Hard Rock, and this is a great decision if they actually do it. The Seminoles know how to do casinos. Hard Rock is one of my favorites in Atlantic City. I think their brand is recognizable. Everywhere you go, you know what to expect at a Hard Rock. A little bit pissed off that Pink Taco isn't at every other casino, because if you go there, they have oak fish everywhere. Beautiful restaurant, great restaurant you should go to if you can. Pink Taco used to be the place we would go in Las Vegas when we would go to the Hard Rock after rehab. Now, after rehab sounds like we went to the rehab and then we left rehab. No, you go to rehab, you drink enough alcohol to throw up once, you drink enough alcohol to throw up again. You might make out with somebody. You might hook up with somebody. You definitely make it to the casino at some point somehow. And then you pass out. And when you wake up the next day, you go to Pink Taco. That's how it's supposed to be. That's the understanding of a Hard Rock casino. So I still have a little bit of problem with that. But outside of that, I think that the Seminoles really got their brand down. Hollywood, Florida has a phenomenally beautiful casino, beautiful looking, wonderful. Just the people watching available there is amazing. And by people watching, I mean tits and ass and hookers. It's really good. It's really something to go see. I highly recommend it. Tampa, I haven't been to. Friends have told me it is a beautiful casino as well, with beautiful restaurants and wonderful, stunning just layouts, things like that. So get out there, enjoy yourselves. But Hard Rock, if they took that place in Planet Hollywood, that would have been great. Of course, we were supposed to go for the draft to the 180-degree suite. And if you know where those are, the strip-facing ones actually have a perfect view of the Bellagio's water fountain, which was where the actual draft was supposed to take place, where we were all going to watch it. It was going to be fucking awesome. We had bar service. Our plan was to hire not an escort, a service lady to serve us and be our waitress upstairs while we had a party and watched it all happen. There is no service ladies available because Planet Hollywood is closed because of this fucking COVID pandemic, which, in hindsight, I don't know if we needed it. I don't know. It's cool. Anyway, haven't been back to Vegas since March, as I talked about. Very disappointing, but that is life. March I was there. It was a week before the president announced his sweeping lockdown recommendations about shutting down the country. And it was phenomenal. I sat at a machine. I lost tons of money. Read it on the blog, please. It was my number one post. And she was gorgeous. And she served me all day. And she saw I lost a lot of money. And she didn't show me her tits because she was already showing me them, because Cosmopolitan makes them wear outfits that show their tits. But it was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. We had a relationship for almost 8 hours, which is about, you know, 1/100th of what my normal relationships are like. 800 hours. What's that? Is that right? So 240 hours would be 10 days. And if you multiply that by 4, that would be 40 days. Oh, that's way too far. It's probably more like 400 hours is my typical relationship. If I get past 2 weeks, it's kind of a real significant step for me. I'm not a good dater. I'm married to the job when I have a job. And I don't know. You know, for me, it's just like I want to have like, 10 kids or whatever, but I got to find the right one. And by the right one, I'm talking perfect is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to keep looking. It is what it is. But let's hope that everything opens up soon. I honestly don't think we're going to be able to take off masks until next year. Until after the flu season. I don't think we're going to hear much about COVID from politicians after November. But I think the media, this is a hot button scenario because we do live in a protective culture. So, we've evolved from where we used to be in the 50s and 40s and whatever have you to here where now we are protective, where before it was more of deal with the consequences when they happen, and we've evolved into a risk society that prefers a lower risk profile over gain. And I think we could talk about this later, but I'm involved in risk management in a lot of places, and the always ignored risk, and it's not ignored, it's just not given enough attention, is opportunity risk, right? So if a firm, for example, doesn't take an opportunity to grow in a certain area, they will lose the competition. Does that mean that they won't incur any of that risk and possibly fail? 100%. But you need to make that decision how risk averse you are, right? Because right now we are in the position where our decisions have impacted workers, impacted America, impacted the world in many ways, because we are leaders in some capacity there. Impacted our children, impacted the ability to go to sports games, impacted all these things that may not seem like a big deal right now, but I think in a way of life it is an important thing to consider. So I'm not saying it should have been done or it shouldn't have been done, but I don't know how much of opportunity risk was considered when implementing all these restrictions. So big thing, but I don't give a shit about that. It's not about me. It is. I mean, you're watching me. It's about me. But more stuff happening in America. Good news in PA. We finally got Barstools coming in. So Barstool Penn National. It was a matter of time before their application was developed and ready for release. It's about to go. Portnoy is, at least in this area. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, man. The stock markets as well. There's been a lot of, and you may. So let's even back this up a step. So Portnoy has a day trader show. It's a great show. He's a funny guy. He's a smart guy, and he's a straight shooter. But he's trading now as opposed to betting, doing sports betting, and he's coming back to that too. But Daily Day Trader, some have said, have driven the stock interest from gamblers because they didn't have anything else to do. And the other argument is that just a natural progression. If you're not taking action on gambling, then you're not taking action. You got to find action somewhere else. You can't go for a hike and attack a piranha or a snake or a bear. I don't know how you can attack a piranha, but whatever. It's not important. I'm smart. And the thing is, I think perhaps there was real truth around that. So a lot of people don't want gamblers to return to casinos. I saw a couple articles today. I think the Post has an op-ed. Whatever, fuck them. It is gambling a sin? It is, of course, in the sense of it is an idle hands practice, right? People should not look to do it professionally. Whoopsie. But, it's one of those things that is here to stay at this point. It's been in the capacity, it's been in the society for so long now. And just the way it was adopted, full board at this point, the genie is out of the bottle. I'm not sure how to put that one back in. So any of these op-eds really don't make a lot of sense to me, especially because stock markets is gambling. I can't stress it enough to anyone. You could, as a person, come to me and say, Vic, I'm going to give you $1,000 and go over to that video pokes machine and see what you can do with it. And I promise you, I'll probably turn it into a lot. I'm good at that shit. The problem is that the casino doesn't have the same relationship with the state as the stock market, because the stock market owns the state. So it's a little bit different, which is why they pay 15% capital gains tax or whatever they pay. And, why they're allowed to afford a lot of ways to hide their money in their investments, where with gambling, anything over $1,200, Uncle Sam gets a direct report on. And then you have to prove to Uncle Sam that you spent that money or lost that money really in somewhere else. And it's a pain. It's a pain in the dumpa. I'm not going to lie to you, because there's not a gambler that's up. I don't know a gambler outside of winning a lottery that's up lifetime. It just doesn't happen. Even annually, it really doesn't happen. Casinos are beautiful. Have you seen them? When I go to Planet Hollywood and I'm looking down over the Bellagio and the Las Vegas Strip, I understand I'm probably going to lose because I really like that room. I really do. And that's part of the gambling, where you can't necessarily purchase that room. So that's a big deal to consider. And in the stock market, though, it's almost the same. As an investor, when you try to actively invest, how often do you actually make that money? If you take a mutual fund or you take explicit stocks that have been recommended to you, you make money, but you don't make nearly as much as they projected. You don't make nearly as much as, the broker dealer, the asset manager, the people that sit on the top that make the rules, the house. So something to consider there. And I understand that it's investing in an equitable company, but I feel like that is still the same kind of gamble at this point, especially because I've been in the industry a long time. I know a lot of these people. They're wonderful people, but it's just like all humans. Everyone is flawed. Everyone has an opportunity to make mistakes. Everyone goes ahead and goes and drinks a fifth of Macallan from time to time. Nobody's perfect. And the next day has consequences for that, right? So if you're an extremely boring person and you're very regimented, then yes, odds are you're probably going to make money. But there's very few people like that I know in the world. They probably sit on the top of the world. They're like the billions guy. But even they have staff that make mistakes. These corporations are not infallible. Red tape prevents a lot of the opportunities to make money, and also prevents a lot of the opportunities to fail as well. But it's important to know that. One other thing I want to talk about before we go is I just got off a long week of gambling, very, very long weekend of gambling. Started on Sunday night, and it basically bled until yesterday. I was in AC. I was down in Avalon visiting friends, and I decided, let's fuck it. We'll go for a couple of days and just enjoy ourselves. Well, I ended up going by myself because I'm a degenerate, and started at Oceans. Oceans was great. The swings were unbelievable. I cannot imagine how an unexperienced gambler could handle those swings. And then I went to Golden Nugget. Beautiful suite at the Nugget. Oceans was just a nice high floor suite. It was nice. But the ability to be comped, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And for anybody that cares, it's an interesting discussion, because when we were younger, in our 20s, we would joke. We had a friend that would call Chong. He would call up the place, and he would let the host know. First off, to get a host, you have to gamble like a maniac one night at least. If they're interested in you, if you made the right barrier, there's a threshold. Bet on the $50 table for more than 30 minutes, and I guarantee you'll get a phone call or an email the next day or the week after. That's sort of how they clarify that. If you're in slots, you're going to have to do a little bit more. You're either going to have to play many hours, or you're going to have to bet above, I think it's $10 a hand. And at that point, if you do that for a duration, you'll be in good shape. There is no one-time bet you can make that'll drive a host to you, unless it's ridiculous, something that any entry-level person wouldn't want. So, or if you're a celebrity, if you're a fucking celebrity, you'll get a host right away. That's important. But that's kind of where it's at. Hold on, did you just die? God damn it, Coruscant. Why is that ringing there? Yeah. Let me call you back, okay? Bye. Oh, Jesus. Somehow, my recording device actually took a phone call. So we got lost again. I'm cool. I'm fucking cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. It's cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm going to have a sip of Coke Zero. I'm cool. I'm just going to have a sip of Coke Zero. Okay, I'm cool. I'm cool. Anyway, so casino comp. Yeah, the entry levels are, in case it wasn't recorded, and I'll fucking cut it out anyway. $50. I think blackjack for half an hour is sufficient. It's a lot of money, a lot of bets. Video pokes, you got to play a lot of money. Slots, I'd probably put it around $10 for half an hour. Average $10 bet, I would guess. Will get you an email or a phone call. If you're a celebrity, you're going to get the call. It doesn't matter. Just call the casino, say I'm a celebrity, or have your assistant, i.e. you, pretending to be someone, and ask for that. You'll get the higher card. You'll get all the benefits. You'll get the VIP entrance. If you're a celebrity, those are kind of cool shits. The coolest thing I've ever seen, which is uncommon and made me love him forever. The big guy from Everyone Loves Raymond. What the hell is his name? Brett. Jesus Christ. Isn't it not Brett Jesus Christ? Oh, Raymond. That sounds real fun. How does Comey do the? How do you do the voices? Ah, fuck it. Anyway, he was there by himself, checking in his entire family and friends. He did it himself. He went to the VIP lounge and he got them all, and he tipped the girl a fucking wad. Real class act. I was really impressed by that. So that's something to consider. And you could do that if you want. In terms of comp and things like that, so if you go to the casinos and you have your own card, comp is not what it used to be. When we were kids, and my dad had his comp card. There, he was at the Sands, and the one story he used to love to tell was, they just comped him, but they comped him. He was a big player. He would go and maybe have a $40,000-$50,000 playthrough. That doesn't mean he brought 50 G's with him. He could have brought 1 G and just played it through, 40 times. In other words, you make those successive bets to get to that number, to get to a level. And at that point, you become, I don't know if you'd say whale, but you're a big player. Whales are $1 million people at this point. Even I'm not there, but you might get there someday, Vic. Just patience. Um, and the story that he tells, of course, was we used to have these cool ass rooms in Sands. Had 2 floors. It was a penthouse, butler service. They would put out food when you got there, like cold cuts, and not just bags of chips, just everything, man. They had and you could schedule the butler to like cook for you, and you could have them go out and get food if you wanted to. And my dad and his brother, they would just check everybody in, and then go downstairs and gamble. But it was top notch. And at one point, the story he tells is he had 2 separate cards. He gave one to his friend and their family. They had about 10 people. He took our family to 2 separate restaurants at the same place, fully comped. It wasn't even asked, wasn't even questioned. He thought he might get talked to about that. But again, they were all under his umbrella, and the comp was a little bit looser. And I'll even say, so that's a cool situation. But in terms of the unfortunate situations where you go and you lose your ass, right? When you lose all your fucking money. Well, when the mob ran the casinos, outside of the corporation, they might still have investments in the casinos, but they're not run by the mob per se, or by a subset or a personal touch, if you will. Even though they took all your money, if you were broke, they made sure you got a meal. If you were broke, they made sure you got home. If you were drunk and you were a good person, they made sure that you got taken care of in some way, shape, or form. If you're an asshole, you got special treatment. But by and large, that was the personal effects that corporate casinos cannot give to you. I've had friends that come with a couple $100 that lose their money, that are begging for a hotel room, that can't even get a meal on the way out because they didn't play through enough, because the comp rate isn't good enough for their little card. It is a new world in that respect. And so the days of old comp are gone. What I will say, though, on the other side is once you do make the threshold, once you do get to a certain level, then things do get easier. Once you have access to a host, you can negotiate some of those things, depending on the casino. Not a fan of Mohegan Sun, Pocono Downs. I'm just going to say that outright. They don't treat their players right. They never have. We've gotten into begging arguments. I won't call it an argument where I've literally brought up my phone and showed my play at other casinos and the exact kind of compensation that I received, and they won't even go to 1/10 of that. So, not a fan. But it's the local casino, so what am I supposed to do? Anyway, but to that effect, it literally proves the point that the corporation can only do so much anymore. Also, there is the concept of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton individual. We are terrible people by nature. We're all assholes. I'm an asshole. And we kind of almost, I think it's born out of the coal mining thing, where I don't want to say victim mentality, because it's almost a fuck you mentality. It's a little bit different. It's not, victim mentality is always like, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, fuck you mentality is like, you need to prove to me why you deserve something. So even the lowest level of person in class structure, if you will, can tell the highest level of person in class structure, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that you deserve this. And until you prove to me that you do, or make me, I'm not going to. And so I think that that might have a reflection on the comp from that area as well. But it is what it is. I don't know, kind of my personality. But we're stuck here. It's part of life, right? So that's the comp stuff. We'll have more comp discussions in the future. But what I did want to end with is tonight we're going to be going out. This week was a full casino week for me. I hit Oceans, I hit Caesars, I hit Bally's, I hit Borgata, I hit Nugget. I got murdered at Nugget, and then I had a half comeback on the morning on the way out. God bless the guy for throwing a couple comp bucks in, or free play in my machine. I don't understand how I hit it, but whatever, cool. Didn't get murdered at Caesars. It took a little beating. I did go to Trop too. I got a little hit there, but also got murdered. So not terribly. I netted almost even at Oceans, which is unheard of. No, well, it's not unheard of, but the swings that I had there, I should have been dead. I should have been filing for bankruptcy right now. Didn't happen though. So thank you, Oceans. I love you. And that was pretty much it. But a beautiful week. After the people cleared out, I'm not a big people person. I am, but you know what I mean. I like to play in peace. I don't necessarily need the drunk guy screaming at me while I'm playing. So that was awesome. And then tonight we're gonna go to Mohegan Sun poking it down as much as I just shit on it. So we'll be in our room drinking. I welcome everybody to come on down if you catch this. Hit me up on, of course, Facebook. I have my regular fun page. On Twitter, it's Regular Fun Posts. On Instagram, it's Regular Fun Media. I myself am GFY Marca, MARCA on Twitter. Come on out. Let's have some fun. Let's gamble. This is going to be a great podcast. We're going to have more podcasts coming from the Regular Fun channel. This is going to be hopefully jackpots, hopefully all that kind of stuff. My cousin wants to do a fucking slot pull. We'll do one. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. Good luck and good out. Bye.